My name is Wright, and this is my story. When I was 8 years old, my mother's husband at the time was entrusted with the duty of teaching me about the birds and the bees. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. He called me into his bedroom and said he wanted to talk to me about something important. And I remember he had a banana and a condom next to his bed. And he sat me on the bed and he began to talk to me about sex. And he began to talk to me about, I guess, what we would call the birds and the bees. He started talking about masturbation and what masturbation was all about. And I remember as he was talking, he said, "It would be better if I showed you than tell you." And I remember him pulling out his private and touching on himself. And then he took my hand and put it on his private and began to move it and said that this was what was called masturbation. And that's kind of where the molestation started. The molestation went on for a number of years. That day was kind of like the gateway opened up. The floodgates, if you will, opened up, and for the next 6 years, over and over and over again, different times and different places and different ways, I endured sexual molestation, sexual abuse at the hands of my, at the time, stepfather. Touched is a book about my experience with sexual abuse as a child, and it goes into the details of what happened to me as a child, the sexual abuse that I suffered over a period of 6 years from the age of 8 to 14. And nothing really destroys the human soul like sexual abuse. And I found as I was growing up and as I entered into adulthood that my life was thoroughly affected by the trauma that I experienced as a child. And so the book Touch dives into some of those long-term effects and how they presented in my life. And it goes on to talk about not only the trials and the tribulations that I endured as I grew up, having experienced this kind of pain and this kind of trauma, but it goes into my journey of healing when I decided to regain my personal power and really make up in my mind that I no longer want my life to be affected or impacted or altered because of something that happened when I was a child. I made up my mind that 6 years of my life would no longer define the rest of my life. And so the book goes into my journey to healing, and not just healing, but what I believe is God's intention for us, which is to call us into wholeness. I don't want to just be healed in this area. I want to be whole. I want to be able to, when I come to the table, be fully present, fully aware. I want to be able to truly love my neighbor as myself. I want to be able to truly give of myself, and that is impossible as long as I stay in the place of pain and brokenness and trauma. So in order to be fully present, in order to be fully myself, fully free, I have to be able to do the hard work of the soul. And that is what this book is about. Touched is about not only the touch that broke me, but the touch that healed me.